It's been so long since my baby trying to move on.
Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of On That Note with Parker Whirling. Today's special guest is a great friend of mine from the Rancho Cucamonga area, which is a great name for a city. He's an alternative rock artist who has so many songs on SoundCloud. He's a beautiful soul. Please welcome Christopher Carillo from Koobrick's Island.
What's up, dude?
Hey, do we have the same microphone?
We do, actually. And it's so funny because I've been seeing like a common theme of people having the same road, was it NT1A or something like that?
Yeah, Anton Cabaz has the same one. If Rode wants to sponsor me, that would be pretty awesome. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm good. So are we on now? Is it going?
Yeah, we're pretty much just gonna go. Like, that's what I've been doing and throwing people off, not saying anything. We just start.
Oh, nice.
Keep you on your toes, you know?
Yeah, I like it.
So I'm glad I get to have you on the podcast, man. We've been friends for a long time. You've been playing music for a long time, but I actually didn't know that until maybe like a year into actually knowing you.
Yeah.
Actually, you came over one day and showed me a bunch of your stuff on my guitar. And I was like, oh my God, this guy is like really good. He's a great songwriter. I didn't know how good at guitar you were. So I want to start this whole thing by asking you, what made you fall in love with playing music? What made you want to start sharing it with people?
Wow. First of all, thanks, man. It's like when you said that, it literally just brought me back when going into your apartment in Sherman Oaks. And you always have the best lighting in your room, by the way. So if you've never been in Parker's room, he has the best like LED lighting, just strategically placed around, and it looks like you're walking into like a Tron Legacy film or something.
I'd like to set the mood.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, man, it kind of starts back when I was around like 7 years old, and I used to go over to my grandma's house like every other weekend, and I walked into her closet one day just because, I would like to roam around, and it was like an old house built in the 20s and stuff, like this old like Spanish-style house. And so I walked in the closet, and she had like a little window just kind of piercing light perfectly through. It's kind of a dusty closet too, so I remember seeing like the dust kind of flow through the closet and stuff, like some like Narnia type shot or whatever, I don't know. At the end of this closet, kind of behind a lot of like old luggage and shit, was like this old Spanish guitar just chilling there. And I remember I knew what a guitar was at the time, but I remember just being so like drawn to it and attracted to it, like something was just like freaking pulling my soul, I don't know. So I walked to it and I grabbed it, and I remember just like taking it out, sitting on the bed, and just like strumming it. I don't know. Every weekend every other weekend I would go in and then bring it out. And then one day I found out it was my uncle's guitar, and he used to be in a band in Mexico in the 60s. And that used to be his guitar. So he ended up teaching me a little bit here and there. Nothing crazy, but just like how to actually hold it and strum it. And then fast forward a couple years down the line, my dad used to show me a lot of like classic rock, and like so classic rock was a big part of why I even wanted to like write music. Van Halen was like my hero growing up, Eddie Van Halen in particular, the guitarist. I remember hearing Eruption one day, like in the car driving from God knows where, and I remember just being blown away by the fact that was even a guitar, let alone a sound that someone can produce, So I was shocked in the back, and I remember I tell him like, who was that? Who did you just play right now? And he was like, that was Van Halen. He's like, I'm like, can you play that again? Can you play it? It was Eruption by Van Halen. From there, it was just, being introduced to a lot of other types of musicians that would go on to inspire me and kind of shape who I am as an artist. And like Johnny Cash and a lot of other like kind of random famous artists, I guess.
You've got a pretty wide range of influences, I've noticed. One of them who I think is pretty on topic is the Smiths. You really have a Morrissey kind of voice, and with Van Halen, when you told me that, I was kind of shocked the first time you told me how much you loved them. But it makes sense. The more I've deep dived into your SoundCloud, I'm like, okay, like I actually do see a lot of Van Halen guitar work in there. How do you balance all of those influences? Do you think about it at all when you're writing, or is it just coming out of you?
I think it's just Not no, definitely not consciously like, being like, oh, I'm gonna try to be more like Eddie Van Halen or like Stevie Ray Vaughan or Wes Montgomery or in this type of like jazz type composition. More like just really, I think if you really love an artist and you really are just moved by them in a way you can't explain, I think somehow their work will find their way into yours. So I mean, sometimes I'm like, it would be cool to sound like, like when I'm doing like the finger tapping shit, which I totally pulled from Eddie Van Halen. That's the first time I ever heard that, and I heard it in a couple of other guitarists, like Randy Rhoads would do it a lot. I don't really consciously think. I mean, I think sometimes I'm like, when I'm like dry of ideas, I'm like, let me try to make something that would probably sound similar to this artist, or at least the vibe or whatever.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you wanna be true to yourself and create your own sound. I think you do a great job implementing guitar tapping, like that kind of playing style into your music, and it doesn't sound really cheesy. A lot of people make it
Yeah.
like kind of ridiculous and they make it about it, but especially your song Abuelita's Closet, I know you do that. And that's funny that you just told the story about your grandma's closet, and it all fits in.
Yeah.
You do a really interesting job of implementing that, and it creates this feeling of I don't know, it's that song especially is a very eerie sound.
There's an interesting connotation behind eerie, so I'm trying to like weave
Oh.
around. What do you mean by eerie? Like,
I mean eerie, like it's got a haunting vibe. The song is a very loving song, but it does sound ethereal.
I really tried to like encompass my story at the time too in that, because for those of you who don't know, Abuelita's Closet is just a strict instrumental. It starts off with this sort of like Spanish sounding like melody, and then it kind of goes into like different sections. It seems like they all interweave into one another until the end. It's just a bunch of like distorted, like kind of beautiful madness. I don't know. At least that's the way I try to make it. Yeah, a big part of that song is just introducing me into like this world of art and understanding and belonging. And at that time, I faced a lot of like hardships as a kid, and there was a lot of tragedies I faced and had to overcome at the time, and there's a lot of I guess lack of a better phrase or word, like road bumps. But in the end, they all made me who I am today, and I think made me the artist and I guess the soul that I am. So it was really like a way of just accepting and making something great of everything that happened to me.
I wanted to ask you, you're a little bit of a naturally shy person, but when I first saw you on stage, that completely disappeared, I think. You have such a good stage presence, and I wanted to ask you what you do in order to get to that place.
Yeah, it's always funny because every like conceivable second leading up until the second I like strum a chord or like say words, like just pure nerves and like anxiety, and I just want to make sure. And it's not even that I want to be good. It's just more of like I hope people understand what I'm trying to say, and I hope people feel what I'm trying to feel and trying to express. Otherwise, I feel like what's the point of sharing your music? It's just people are just trying to just bobbing their head just to bob it or to because everyone else around them is doing it. And so I'm always nervous that people won't like get it, but then again it's like, what does it matter? People are gonna like translate it, interpret it differently than you intended it. So just allowing myself to remember that like everyone will have their own experience, right? And you have no control over that, so why would you freak out? So I think a lot of it is just in the moment, like really just investing and revisiting why I wrote these songs, or whether it's a play, like why I'm working on this character, whatever it is, like just really just being in it, and like investing your soul into that very thing for that very moment that won't even last a whole lifetime. It's not as serious as we make it to be in the moment. So it's just a small snippet of life that will probably affect people in a positive way. So why would you deprive them of that?
Well, I gotta say, I was pretty blown away when you told me that you were making these songs that you've made on GarageBand on your iPhone.
To start, I mean, it was all I had when I was even interested in recording anything I wrote. You know, um, I've been recording songs like that I wrote since high school, but it was just like in voice notes. But it was just to get the idea recorded because I knew it wouldn't exist and I wouldn't remember it in the future if I didn't like record it. So um, then I discovered GarageBand like last year, and I just decided to work with all I had was my iPhone 6 and a pair of headphones at the time and a lot to talk about. So I just decided to use that and kind of explore it and try to learn it to the best of my ability and use every single synth that is in there and every single little drum pad and everything and whatever I felt like was cool to me and whatever I thought sounded cool. But yeah, GarageBand. I mean, I still use GarageBand, and now I have a laptop and MIDI keyboard and an interface. Yeah, and this cool mic. So like, but even I even up until like 2 months ago, I didn't have any of this. So I was still using GarageBand, and then I had like this little iRig that I would put to my phone, a little upgrade, and then I used this condenser mic, and it was doing me pretty, good. Yeah, man. I think GarageBand is great. If you know how to use it, and it's a great start. And for a good year, I was recording on that. So I think if you really know how to use it and you explore it and don't limit yourself to telling yourself that there are limitations, which there are, but the second you tell yourself that, you're just going to be discouraged, right? So I think the fun in it is telling yourself that there are no limitations, and then from there kind of explore the parameters within the supposed limitations and kind of, I don't know, challenge yourself.
Yeah, GarageBand can get a bad rap, but honestly, it's sick. Like if you are okay with just sticking to the basics and making things sound good right from the beginning, it's going to be a cool tool to make some music that, otherwise you wouldn't have, and it's free.
It's very true. I would go to on my lunch breaks, or sometimes when I was just bored of work, I would go in the restroom and I'd take my phone and then I'd record a melody on GarageBand and then I'd be like, I'm gonna use that melody later when I have time, and I'd just like use that melody I recorded in the restroom at work, and it just goes to show like it's so portable and so accessible too that you can just create music anywhere, and I think that's like the cool part of it too.
Yeah, it's awesome that you don't have to necessarily go to this huge professional music studio to make hits. Like you can do it in the bathroom of a restaurant if you want.
Bro, isn't that so cool? We've evolved a lot with technology, and it's just amazing, man.
And we're very fortunate to live in an age that we can create music from our bedroom or from, the bathroom restaurant. Back 40 years ago, you had to go to a huge studio and you had to have the money to pay the engineers and the studio execs and all that stuff. And, just to get to that point, you probably have to be repped by a label. And nowadays, it's like power to the people.
Truly, man. It's great. It's very encouraging, I think that was probably, I can imagine, a very limiting factor to a lot of artists back then, is like not having that, money, or not having that, foot in the door. Now it's just so accessible.
What made you want to start putting out your music? Because I think everybody has that moment as an artist where they haven't done anything yet and they are nervous to take that first step. For me, I realized when I wrote Tailor Made, the first song I ever put out, it felt like, thank you, it felt like this is something I'm confident in sharing with people. Did you have a song that made you feel like that, or was it just the time of the year that you were like, you know what, this is it, I'm going to start releasing stuff?
Well, as you know, like most of, if not all, except for one song is on SoundCloud of mine, and I only have one song that's on Apple Music and Spotify, which is a song that I just released.
What's it called?
Since You.
Since
like
You.
Koobrick's Island.
Koobrick's Island. That's my favorite, by the way.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, so I think there was a point where I wasn't even thinking like, oh, I'm going to release stuff and I want people to hear it. I want to just be discovered. I want the masses to know my shit. It was just like I just want to release stuff because first of all, I felt like if I just had it in my phone, I had it in me, and like it was just a bunch of pent up energy that was just in there, and I was like, it's better to just release it, and whoever sees it, cool. They'll probably relate to it if they find it, and they're meant to hear it if they find it. So I kind of went in with that mentality and like just releasing just to release too because I had a couple of close friends that just wanted to hear it and my family. So, but with Since You, it was like, you know what? I'm just like, fuck it, man. Like, what's the point of not releasing it? Just do it and it'll be an exercise of humility too to me in a sense because then I'll be like, oh, I'm releasing something and that's it, There's nothing more to it.
You're doing it for yourself,
That's
first
what it
and
is, man.
foremost. First and
Yeah.
foremost, and anything else is just icing on the cake. I think it's very
Truly,
therapeutic.
yeah.
Therapeutic to write your songs and get your feelings out in a way that maybe you couldn't before, and then to share it with people. If they really enjoy it, then that's just like, hell yeah, why not?
Absolutely, man. That's what it is right there.
You live in Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, Rancho Cucamonga. People laugh when they hear that, or they're like, "Whoa, what is that?"
Yeah, Rancho Cucamonga. It took me a little bit to actually pronounce that last word.
Yeah. It's a fun one.
What's the music scene like there?
Cool, man. It's very laid back. I just discovered it like last year. I didn't even know there was a music scene out here because I think I'd just been so like also, I'm sorry about the noise in the background. There's some carpet cleaners downstairs.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, sick. Cool. Okay, so the music scene out here is to start, it's very, it feels like new forming. Like it's just getting started, but it's been here for the last couple years and there's like little promoters that are out here that are putting these shows together, and it's like everyone in the, not just Rancho but the outskirts like Riverside, Upland, seems like it goes all the way to the edge of like the Inland Empire, like to Pomona, which is LA County. Like everyone's like finding out about these little shows, and it's like local bands are on the come up. Like, have you heard of the Red Pears?
No, I haven't.
They were at Tropicalia last year, but they played shows for Vertigo Volumes, which is like they put together shows out here. It's ran by this dude named Nick. And he's pretty cool. They record video and they put it out, and they just it seems like a community, rather than like, oh, let's make bands and let's do this and let's do it for profit and blah blah blah. It's like, nah, like these people just fucking love music and they want to share these artists that are on the come up, and they want to give people a platform. And there's a lot of cool little promoters like LOC Productions, another one ran by Juan.
Shout out to LOC Productions.
Shout out to LOC who gave me my first little show too, which you attended.
It was a great show, man. I was so excited for you when you did that because I know you hadn't played a show before. I know you're a little nervous, but it was such a cool environment. I remember walking into this garage and they just decked it out with cool lights and like free coffee and like all this stuff. I was like, dude, wine. Yeah, of course. Can't forget the wine. But I was so pumped. I was pumped for you to be performing for the first time that night, but I was also pumped that you had this community. I had never seen something like that before, being part of this house show. And I was just like, man, this is really cool. I want to be a part of this. Unfortunately, it's like an hour and a half away from me. But I did get to go to a couple. And what did it feel like stepping into that community?
It felt very, very welcoming. And I think it's it just feels like everyone just wants to be there to experience, and they want to be there to share and to be a part of something. And I think it's such a selfless community. But with these little shows, it feels like everyone's just there to experience it together, and it's like this synergetic, like, beautiful mess of experience.
It felt very personal.
Yeah, very personal for sure. Yeah, in particular that garage show because it was so intimate, and so there's only like a 25 limit guest, capacity, but from some of the bigger shows like I've been to, like even that, like there's like up to like 200 plus people, 300, 400, whatever, and it still feels like intimate and like, you know, just this really cool community.
I think community is one of the most important things that I've learned over the years from being an artist, especially being an only child. There's not, I'm just used to being alone, I guess. And it's not the same when you don't have people around you who you are inspired by to check out your music and be inspired by that. So I always felt like, man, I just need people to inspire and be inspired by. And I'm glad I met you, because you are absolutely one of those people. Everyone in Koobrick's Island who I've had the luxury of playing with inspires me. Shout out Luke, Ciara, Isaac, Nick, everyone.
Leon for one show.
Leon, yeah.
And also, not to mention Parker, who was my bassist for the last couple of shows, who's taught me so much. You've taught me so much, man, about music. Just by being around you and seeing you play is just like a masterclass, it feels like. And just your knowledge of music too is just like, it's beautiful, man. So thank you for providing that to me and to the rest of the island.
The rest of the island. Thank you, man. I appreciate those kind words. I love playing with you guys. It's always such a groovy time, and it's always good energy, and that's really what it's all about. All right, man, I think it's time for the last 5. I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions. You answer to your heart's content, and then we'll be out of here. Question 1, in the studio or playing live?
Oh, man. I would say playing live.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why playing live?
First of all, I got to face my fear. Second of all, there's just I feel like I grow so much after a show, you know, facing that fear and just like connecting with everybody. It just feels like I grow more as an artist, as opposed to like being in the studio is like, it's more of a process, you know, it's like a slow burning process, and like you slowly grow, which is great. You know, I love that. And you discover, and it's like you get to mess up and experiment, and it's really great in its own, you know, but like performing is like, I just feel like I grow so much more like confidence and more like reassurance that, you know, maybe people do want to connect and listen to this music, you know, and it's just such a humbling experience too. And it's, yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's a thrill. If you ever play live, it's just such a freaking amazing thrill.
Very well said. It's one event. It's one thrilling event that you're ready for. Like your day is leading up to this, as opposed to a studio situation, especially if it's a bedroom studio where it can literally be any time you want. You can start recording. And in the studio, just because I love that feeling of crafting a song, but you're right, that gratification of playing live in front of people and getting the audience to interact with you and make those connections, it's thrilling for sure. So this one might be kind of a doozy for you, but who's your favorite guitarist?
Eddie Van Halen.
I had a feeling, but if you had to pick a second one.
A second one. Eddie Van, I was kidding.
His brother.
He does have a brother who's his drummer, Alex.
Yeah,
Van
I know.
Halen.
I was like, wait a second. He's actually in the band.
Yeah. I would say probably, that's a hard one. Probably Wes Montgomery.
Wes Montgomery. I know the name, but I don't know anything about him. Question number 3. Who's your dream artist to work with?
Dream artist to work with. I wasn't prepared for these questions, Parker.
Putting you on the spot.
Can we go to the next question? Maybe it'll come up.
We'll circle back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll circle back.
All right. This this one also might be hard. Who's the most underrated artist to you?
Can we go back to the last question, man?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, underrated. You know, actually, when you said, I had a feeling you would ask this question. That's why I didn't want to answer the last one. But underrated, do you know Alice Phoebe Lou?
No.
No, I feel like she's just so, oh my God, dude. The first time I ever heard her, and I don't know why her music is blanking in my mind, but the first time I heard one of her songs, it just blew me away. Like, her voice is just so soulful, and something I feel like I've been like feel like I've been my ears and soul have been deprived of listening to any artist nowadays. It's like she's got such a free flowing, soulful voice that I haven't heard in such a long time, and I don't know, she has so much character in her melodies, and just her expression is just so like profound to me. And I haven't even discovered her full body of work yet, just like only an album.
Alice Phoebe Lou.
Alice Phoebe Lou. I'll send you some of my favorite songs after if you want, but
Yeah,
check
please.
her out. Check her out. Anyone who's watching, please.
Everybody,
You'll do.
check out
Yes.
Alice Phoebe Lou.
She's so amazing. No, seriously.
Okay. Well, we got to circle back to the one, but here's another one. What piece of equipment is on your wish list?
My wish list.
This is a new one. I recycle a lot of them, but this one I was like, Christopher, I want to know what he wants.
Like wish list. Like if I had all the money in the world.
Let's say, what's the next thing you want to buy?
Oh, the next thing I want to buy.
And you'll get it for free.
Probably like a Fender jazz bass.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of simple, but I'm using this like bass that my friend gave me, and no hate on it at all. I still make it work, but the action is just so high, and I can't adjust it. You know, it's like stuck. I couldn't adjust the truss rod and like kind of mess the neck up, but like I just want to leave it the way it is, and I don't want to fuck with it. But I played on a Fender jazz bass, and it just feels so smooth. And I'm trying to learn more bass stuff and trying to expand, my instruments.
I think learning bass is really helpful with writing songs with good groove. Like I noticed once the better I got at bass, the more I paid attention to the groove of a song. So I think you're gonna start getting real funky with it.
Yeah, I love it, man. You got to teach me some things too, because you kill it on the bass.
Yeah, I'll come over. We'll bass jam.
I'm down.
Just two dudes, two basses. All right, man. We have to circle back. Not letting you go with this one.
All right, I already have it.
You got
Tom Misch. Tom Misch.
That's your dream artist to work with. Tom Misch. Great choice.
It might change. It could have been something different yesterday or but right now I just felt the need to say that because I was thinking of the song Movies by Tom Misch. So fucking amazing. One of my favorite songs of all time.
He's so smooth.
You know, the song Movies, he sampled his you know that woman talking in the beginning who has like this mid-Atlantic British like voice from the 40s? It's actually a recording of his grandmother talking about his grandfather.
Whoa.
And I didn't know that. I thought it was pulled from like some movie from the 40s I'd never heard of, like this melodramatic like romance film or something, but it's actually his grandma, which makes it so much more like impactful, I think. And I don't know, the fact that he's able to like craft something like that, and Lost in Paris and all those other ones, like it's just like, I don't know, the dude is just brilliant.
That's such a fun part of the writing process, is adding things that are so personal to you that nobody could ever recreate.
Very true. Very true.
All right, Christopher Carillo, Koobrick's Island, episode in the bag. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yes,
I
thank you.
really appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you soon, man.
Man, let's get together soon after this. Thank you so much for having me, Parker. You're doing amazing with these podcasts. I'm honored not just to be here, but to be your friend and to have worked with you and to work with you again. So, yeah, man, I love you, man.
I love you too, bro. I really appreciate you coming on, seriously, and thank you for the kind words. I'll talk to you soon. Love you, brother.
Much love.
See ya.
And I